Boom. Happy December, everybody. December 1st, and episode 118. I am joined by former Combate Americas Bantamweight champion and current UFC Bantamweight champion who now has a win in the UFC. And without further ado, I'm happy to have him on. Here he is. Hey, man. How you doing?
How's it going?
I had a little bit tough technical difficulties getting you on there, but you're here. How's it going?
Doing good, man.
How are things there with the pandemic? I'm up in Canada, so here everything's on lockdown. Gyms just closed, so back at standstill. So what are things like there?
Things are still somewhat normal here in Las Vegas. Same thing. Everybody got to wear their masks, stuff like that. Be precautious, but for all we know, businesses are still open. So people just taking care of themselves, making sure they're okay. I guess because of the holidays, all the cases went up and stuff, so everybody's more worried. But for all we know, things are gonna be okay for now. I already got it. I got COVID like 2-3 weeks before my recent fight. So I'm through it. So I'm not worried that much anymore.
I was gonna ask about that. So you had it 3 weeks before, and the last week you managed to kind of fight it off. But was there a point where you were like, man, I can't fight with this? Like it just.
I couldn't fight the 2 days I was sick. So I think it was on the 14th, like something like that. It was on a Monday. I felt sick, went to go get tested, got tested positive, and then that day, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I was like in my bed, couldn't move. Like definitely, if that week was the fight, it would have been hard. But I literally just stayed in bed for 2 days, and by Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, I felt great. Because of the whole COVID rules, I had to be quarantined for 14 days for 2 weeks, and just went through it. And then after those 2 weeks, fight week started. So I got through fight week, and then we fought.
Yeah, I mean, I think for you it would have been a lot different than a lot of people because you made a huge sacrifice coming to the UFC to begin with. Then you got there, you had a loss. So back-to-back losses in a UFC debut would have been extremely crucial. So when you were sick, was there a point where you're like, man, there's a lot at stake here. There's a lot riding on this. Was there any hesitation there at all to maybe like, you know what, let's hold this off. Let's fight at a later date.
No, not at all. We trained so hard since the Morale fight to get ready for this one, so we were gonna fight. We knew. Luckily, when it did happen, it was 3 weeks out before the fight, so I was like, if I gotta get through it. I was stuck at home for those 2 weeks and just kind of went on runs, ate really healthy, kept my weight down, because I couldn't really go anywhere those 2 weeks that you're in quarantine. So I just stayed at home, ran around, didn't do no pads, didn't grapple at all. And just 5 weeks started, I had to go get tested on that Friday to make sure I was okay. And that test came out positive too, the week of the fight. So we're like, damn, fight's over. What? I think it was Christmas. Halloween. I'm like stuck at home thinking I'm going to fight next week, and I wasn't sure. Luckily, the doctor hit us up. It was like, hey, you shouldn't be positive anymore. It's been 14 days. Go ahead and get retested on Monday, and everything should be fine. So we were waiting until Monday, and then that weekend we heard that my opponent at the time, Carlos, got tested positive for COVID, so he was completely out. So I'm like, oh goodness, he got COVID. I possibly have COVID. What's gonna happen? Monday hits. We go get tested, and just wait it out. And keep my weight down. Woke up in the morning on Tuesday and just woke up and went for a run like normal. I'm in my head. I'm like, I'm gonna be negative. I gotta get my weight down, be ready. I'm running around 8 in the morning, and I get a call from the UFC like, hey, your test came out negative. You're good to go. And then that day, they're like, okay, we're going to look for an opponent. They found Anthony Burchak as replacement. We just said, all right, and just took the fight.
How does it feel to a lot of people are like, oh, getting the call to the UFC, competing for the UFC is great, but it doesn't really feel like you're part of the UFC until you get that W. Do you agree with that?
I do. I really do. That win it meant so much. To be in the UFC, and I know I'm always good enough, but to actually win fights in the UFC, it's super hard. Everybody is talented.
Yeah.
People say I made that fight look easy. Like, that guy's not an easy fight for anybody.
Mhm.
Anthony Burchak is coming off of a 4-5 win streak, all first round finishes, amazing black belt. He actually the same coach. Have a coach. Coach Casey gave him his black belt, so it was my coach gave him his black belt. So it was like, I know he was legit. And then because I was fighting Burchak, my coach had to step out and not corner me, so I was left out with one of my coaches, and then just picked up two of my friends, like, hey, I need you to I need you to come corner me, and we just went in there and just had a fun time and got the IW.
Is it obviously he's a friend of yours, someone you know well? I mean, there's probably pros and cons to that too. Like pros is I'm fighting someone I'm familiar with. Cons is a guy I like. Um, so when you got the news that you were fighting Anthony, how'd you take that?
I was trying to make sure, like, is that like, well, that was the only option? Is there others? They're like, and they're telling me like, it's at this short notice, this is the best bet that we can make the fight, and or we're not gonna have no fight. And I'm like, I'm trying to make some money. I'm trying to, keep fighting, get that W. So I told my manager yes. I actually called Burchak and told him like, hey man, no hard feelings. We'll have a beer after. And he was ecstatic. He was happy about it. He wasn't like, he knew I could have said no about the fight, and that could have been his, like, I could have been his one last chance to get in, and maybe didn't take it because I said no. But I kind of knew that, because when I first got the call, like, I would have fought anybody to get in, and anytime those people could be like, no, Gustavo's too dangerous of a fight. Let's not take that fight. Let's take another. Simple, something like that. But Marab gave me the chance to get into the UFC, fought my heart out on a 20-hour notice. And then, I wanted to give Burchak the opportunity to get back in the UFC. But just because I let him, gave him the fight, wasn't going to be an easy one. I was going to throw hard. Like, people that saw that fight couldn't, they said like, oh, they're friends. It didn't show. I was
Yeah.
swinging. I was trying to get the finish, and he was too. Didn't seem that he hit me at all, but he actually hit me a couple times. So yeah, we're swinging. So it is what it is. It's funny. Afterwards, I ended up going to Tucson to go watch a football game, the NSC uh, SC versus Arizona State, and I was there for the day, and I stopped at his at his gym and brought him a 6-pack. Like, hey man, let's have that beer.
Oh, that's awesome. That's hilarious. I want to talk a little bit about afterwards, because afterwards you went and spent time with your family. You went and saw your niece. So what was it like to spend some time, doing family related things, family oriented stuff?
Truly amazing, man. I've had the opportunity to be able to go back and do stuff like that. So the fact that I was able to go and enjoy myself and kind of take care and spoil all my nieces and stuff, it was truly amazing. Very, very amazing weekend. Literally a couple days, 4 days. Brought my camera out there, took a lot of shots, and just enjoyed, being with people that that look up to me, that are proud of me, and just have my back 100%.
Yeah, it's hard because like I come from a Spanish background. My parents are from Spain, and I can imagine they'd support me no matter what I do. But if I came out to them and said, you know what, I want to be a cage fighter, I don't know how they'd take that. So what was it first like coming out and just saying, you know what, I want to fight in a cage. I want to beat some guys up.
I don't think I told them the first time. I think I kind of just took the fight and just kept going, and then later on they found out what I did, and been fully supportive from the beginning.
Yeah, I think that's when
My mom is hard to watch it sometimes, but other than that, she'll be there, support me.
I think it's hard to kind of relate. So if you had a message to parents or anybody who's going to have kids, like what would the message be about kids who want to get in martial arts, whether that be MMA or karate or whatever it happens to be?
Just let your kid do what he wants. If he enjoys it, if he, if jujitsu or MMA brings the happiness, let him do it. It could be anything. There's some parents that I know that force their kids to do sports, and the kid hates it. But if the kid wants to do it, let him have a good time. Let him learn. He's young. He's gonna figure it out. He's gonna be really good, or he's gonna find out that this is probably not what I want to do, and he'll decide to do something else. But if you stop him from, like, actually going out and figuring it out, the kid's gonna be, very resentful, like, oh, I could have been a badass fighter, but my mom didn't let me, or something like that. But if you let the kids just enjoy themselves and have a good time and learn from it, martial arts brings so much to fighters and to people, and just it's a way to express yourself. It's not only an outlet for your anger. Like, I'm one happy dude, and I'm smiling in the fights, and I'm enjoying myself because I love the process. I love learning and getting better. And a lot of kids, I think, need something that they could put their outlet in.
For sure. I mean, I think that's one of the things I notice a lot about fighters is a lot of people think that they're angry or aggressive or whatever. And it almost seems like the opposite. The more I get to talk to people and the more I get to meet them, they're all happy, exciting. Guys like you, guys like Randy Costa, they always have that positive energy, which is really, really nice to see. And I think that can go a long way. And, this is what MMA can do for you. And it really does create a family-like environment.
Thank you. Yeah, I really think it does. It just, I'm happy with it. I'm living a lifestyle that I enjoy. I wake up every morning happy and grateful for the opportunities that I have, and then now doing well, I'm able to help out other people. There's things I want to do. I want to do a bunch of fundraisers. I want to just help here in Las Vegas, a turkey drive. They got all these companies to donate over a hundred some turkeys that we gave to families. And then there's a toy drive later in December that we're gonna help out. But I was thinking, like, I would love to do something like that in my hometown, being able to get business together and get my own funds together, and kind of just give back to the community that always supported me.
I think that's great, and I think we all want to be able to do that. So it's great that you're using your platform to do things like that, do things that are good. I want to talk a little bit about Vegas. I mean, you're at probably the nicest facility for MMA in the world. So kind of talk a little bit about the PI and what's that like.
The PI is by far the best thing I've ever seen. What's his name? Adesanya was saying that it's kind of like the X Factor from the X-Men, that building that they all go in and they learn how to do all the skills. It's like that. They go in and there's doctors and physical therapists and strength conditioning and nutritionists, and you name it, they have it. Like, the only thing you have to worry about is your MMA workouts, your coaches, and your sparring, but they take care of everything else. Strength conditioning, again, nutrition, physical therapy. Anything's hurt, they fix you up. They make sure you eat well, make sure you have the right vitamins in your body, and then they make sure, and they all work together to build a perfect machine and a perfect athlete. So I'm 100% grateful for everybody at the PI. Bo's one of my strength conditioning coach. Tara is one of the physical therapists at the PI that I've been working with. She's truly amazing, always taking care of me. It's just by far one of the best facilities with the best staff and the best people out there.
I want to talk a little bit about another gym that you've been training a lot at, and I know a lot of those guys well, and Justin James and Eric Nixick. What's it like working at Extreme Couture?
Amazing, man. It's since the moment I moved to Vegas, is the gym I got to and I never left. For me, I don't feel no reason to leave. They have everything I need, amazing teammates, great facility, great coaches. I also train at 10 Planet. I also train with my coach Gift. There's never been an issue of like, oh, you can't train over there. You can't train with them. You got to train only with us. It's the way our gym works is just, come get what you need. If you get everything here, cool. But if you need something else, go out there and, whatever works better for yourself. So I love that Extreme Couture is such a open gym that lets people learn when they need to learn, and then if they want to find something else, go. It's not a big deal for us. I think there's so many fighters out there. Like, there's no reason to be like upset if you go to a different gym. There's never been an issue here. So Eric Nissen runs an amazing gym, so he's an amazing guy.
I want to talk about. I couldn't go without asking about this. It was probably, I guess, one of the biggest things in the news of MMA was when you decided I'm going to fight for the UFC? There was so much controversy there with Combate and the UFC. It was almost like a little tug of war. So I guess obviously I'm sure you had a great time in Combate. You won the belt there. What went behind the decision to say, you know what, like it's time to take that next step, go to the UFC, because you had the belt. I mean, you were a champion. It's a huge sacrifice to make. You know, you were at the top of the totem pole, and now you're had to start from the bottom. So what went behind that decision to say, you know what, I'm making the leap?
It wasn't that hard of a decision. The UFC is the mecca of sports. If you fight, if you train MMA, the whole goal is to be in the UFC. You know, it's to be in. You know, if you're a football player, it's to be in NFL, basketball player. You know, NBA. It's you want to be to the mecca sport of all of it. There's other leagues, of course, but it's nothing compared to the UFC. If you talk about, if you literally say, oh, some people come up to you and they're like, oh, you train UFC. It's like they don't like a lot of people don't understand that it's the name of the company, not the sport. And there's people believe that the UFC is the sport that we do. That's how big they are. Mm-hmm. You know, it's hard when you go to places like, oh, I fight, I'm the champion with Combate Americas, and they're like, what is that? You know. Same thing with Bellator. Same thing with all the other ones. They're big. They're big if you know about them. Combate's treated me amazing. Campbell was an amazing owner. Treated me amazing too. It's just at the end with Combate, I fought. I defended my title, and then they didn't do anything with me. I wasn't sure when I was gonna fight again. What was going on? The opportunity to get into the UFC came up, and I jumped on it right away. There was and there was issues of me still being contracted under the Combate because they had like a fighter's clause about it. Like all my fights were over, but they had like a matching clause. If someone else wanted me, they could match and they could keep me. A lot of people spoke up and was like, "Hey man, you can't stop this guy from achieving his dream and being the best in the world." And to be in the best in the world, I feel the best fighters are in the UFC. Not saying there's bad fighters everywhere else. There are amazing fighters everywhere. But the UFC majority has the best fighters here.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I think Combate still hasn't had an event since. So, I mean, it just shows that you did make the right move. You've had 2 fights. You fought a guy who a lot of people think could be champion in your debut, and you did extremely well considering everything that was going on. What was the biggest lesson from that loss?
I just learned some things I needed to work on. More head movement, more footwork, more stuff like that. Being more patient. Didn't really took it as a loss. Took it as an experience. You know, learn from it and just move on. You know, Marab actually showed up at my gym a couple weeks later, and we trained at the gym. You know, no hard feelings at all. It's a business. We're here to make money, and we're prize fighters. So the people that don't like each other, there's gonna be that. But other than that, I'm here to have a good time.
I think that's a good mentality to have. I'm going to ask you one last question, and then I'll let you go. I know you have some training to do. So, big title fight coming up between Figueroa and Brandon Moreno. Obviously, they had a very impressive. They both won their last fight very impressively. If you had to pick, who do you think is winning it?
Brandon. The guy is hard worker. Actually, helped him. Was at the house, I think. When he was on the Ultimate Fighter, he trained a lot of Extreme Couture. Went back to Mexico, came back, drilled a little bit here. I truly love Brandon. He's so amazing, so hardworking, and his grappling looked amazing. Great striking. Figueroa has that power, but I got money on Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a lot. It's going to be the most exciting title fight we've had at 125 in a long time. They're both fast. Brandon looks incredible, more incredible every time he fights. Yes. And Figueroa, I mean, obviously, what he's been doing at 125 is incredible.
He's truly a great fighter for sure.
And then, obviously, I saw some news on your Instagram. I'm sure you can't go into a whole lot of detail, but for people who haven't seen your fights, what can they expect next time out?
High pace, in your face, taking people down, pretty much taking people's souls away, and just getting those finishes.
And I'm not gonna pester. There is a fight, so just keep your eyes peeled for anyone who's watching. He does have a fight, and I'm sure it'll be out soon. Is there anyone you want to? Is there anyone you want to shout out, or any sponsors you want to plug before we end this?
First of all, Rockwell, amazing guy, and then Rubenstein, amazing people that have been supporting me since the beginning, and just Extreme Couture, everybody back there is just my family, so I'm excited to just stay here and help people out and get better and then get ready for my fight.
All right, man. Thank you very much for the time, and I can't wait to watch you back out there.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, man. Stay safe. And there you have it. Gustavo Lopez, 135-pounder in the UFC. Very, very impressed with his performance in his debut against Merab Dvalishvili, who a lot of people have potentially being champion there at 135. He obviously rebounded from that loss with a huge win over Anthony Burchak back on November 7th. And he's got another fight. It's not out yet, so keep your eyes peeled. And, man, if you haven't yet, this is the last day I'm going to rock this. So be sure to donate, and I'll see you guys next time.